household, it's roughly $3,300 after the grants. So an average house needs $3,300. That's without the distribution system, or sorry, the collection system. So just looking at it, and we had updated these calculations, and we're not far off. And I think the $4,900 is a reasonable charge for the cost of paying for the system. If you want to discount it, that's fine. But if you discount it, it goes on to the existing, the rates go up. So it's trying to find that balance. What I haven't included in there right now is interest charges. Okay, so I've kept the $4,900 because I've done a test and it's not out of whack. So I haven't made any major changes. But I could be increasing it even more. But we have had the discussion with staff that it may be, as you were bringing up, it may be a good opportunity for us to pursue some dialogue with the development community and do just that. We need some assistance. Now it's the time to need the assistance. So I think that's something we have to look at over the next little while.
So you were recommending that we stay static for the time being?
I've assumed in the analysis right now, status quo. Which option are we going with? What's the final funding? I don't know. So all I've said is, right now, I've done netting down the net amount, divided it by the total capacity, and worked it through to a per household charge, and it's around $3,300. You add in the rest of the stuff, it's not out of whack, so I haven't made any wholesale changes. I just said that's a reasonable dollar amount.
Councilor Scott.
Not long ago we had, and I can't remember who the person was, in speaking about the average age of the people here, and the people that we were one of the few municipalities growing, which is a positive thing. We've been having growth over a number of years. I can't remember who was in. So that tells me a little bit different scenario than what you're saying, Deputy, here, because if we're popular in this respect of growth, and we've had a little bit of growth happening whereas other municipalities are going the other way, we're obviously one of the places to be. So that to me is very positive about Lambton Shores. So that tells me that developers will want us, for the point of view that if you look at stats coming up, people are moving in, they're building houses. I think we've had 35 this year so far being built. Is that about, give or take? Yeah. They may not be finished yet, but they're coming along. So I think that I mean, I'm not talking about overcharging, but to be able to move forward with developers and encourage maybe a little bit, not necessarily higher cost of what you've got going, isn't wrong. I think we're positive in the respect that, so I like the concept of being able to do that, whereas that free will offering, I think, is a good move too. And any of the developers that I've had the opportunity to speak with, I was with Councilor Bonsteel and Councilor McGuire with a couple of them, they were very positive about Lambton Shores. They really thought that we have a lot to offer, that we already have a good variety of things here, so that their compliments would be good. So I think that not to necessarily disagree, but I think that there is some positive things already happening with Lambton Shores that are good. And that's what I'm seeing. So.
Councilor Underwood was next.
I just want to clarify something from the question that we had with the deputy. You're not actually recommending anything with regards to development charges at this point. You just were using the existing figure, right? You're using existing fees what we have today. Right?
I tested the reasonableness of it, and I just assumed it.
Right. That's a discussion for another day.
I mean, I can rerun it. I mean, it's probably simple enough. I just haven't done it right now. As I say, every scenario that you pick, it's a recalculation that I can spin to the end of time on different alternatives. But it's a reasonable, the charge you have is a reasonable charge, reasonably reflective.
Yeah, just a quick response, and I think we agree largely, but and I think that there's a lot of attractiveness to Lambton Shores, and truly Lambton County, we were one of two municipalities that had any growth at all. But we have fallen significantly. We have fallen from 19 houses about 5 years ago down to 24 to 35. So we're dropping significantly. But there's still growth, which is good. However, I do have another question for you, Gary, too, and that is we are heavily dependent on seasonal use, right? And I'm just wondering, what type of calculation do you have made
look at your average flows, which is about 200 cubic meters per year, because some of the houses, the building permits that are built are permanent, and they would probably use more. The average is of a regular home is 250 to 300 in this area. And then obviously when you have the seasonal users and they're just here during the season, the flows are 100 to 150. So you average them together and you get about 200. So I've assumed your average of 200 in the additional flows that are coming on stream.
Okay, just a comment about growth and the success of the municipality in terms of growing. Certainly in terms of southwestern Ontario, in terms of the rural area, we are an anomaly because we are growing. Now, that growth has slowed just like it's slowed everywhere else, but we certainly are growing more than most areas in this whole region. The other thing that I do want to mention is we keep talking about seasonal, and yet there is another anomaly going on around this municipality, and that is the folks who are moving to the cottages, renovating them, and moving, and that's where they're living year-round. And certainly in the area where I am, that is happening more and more and more. We're still going to have this population. You projected that population growth. That's part of how the sewage treatment plant was based. We're certainly not falling behind. And the other thing I wanted you to comment on was just the relative cost of our development charges in comparison with the like municipality that is growing at the rate we are.
A couple of different things there. With respect to the analysis and the conversions, whether they're permanent or seasonal, they're going to pay the same development charge. They're in our assumptions on their monthly charges, they're going to pay exactly the same. And then on the flows, we've averaged. And I can't do better than that, but what it's actually based on your actual information. So on the meters, we looked at averaging and we use that. So I don't think anything we've done has hurt the analysis. In fact, if they're becoming more permanent, that should say to be using more. So our analysis has been conservative, at least on that side. I think it was the second half of the question, which was the DCs.
The DCs are in comparison.
The development charges at $10,000 aren't out of alignment. If you compare it to other communities and they don't have sewer and water and they have to build their own wells and their own septics, they're paying a lower charge. Your soft component may be $3,000 and you're paying $7,000 for water and wastewater. Well, if I'm only going to use my example because I know around the whole Ontario they changed, but I live in the country. 12 years ago, my septic system cost me around close to $30,000. I'm on clay, so I have a very big bed, conduit. My well, I'm down 165 feet, so it cost me I think around $7,000. So I personally paid around $35,000 in comparison to the municipal charge of $7,000. Now, obviously, the developer is going to put the water main and the sewer in when they build the subdivision, so there's an extra cost. But my costs, I would have rather had municipal services per se from a cost perspective. So when you do comparisons, you have to look at that balance because it's unfair to not get the water to get an unserviced area versus service. Looking at this particular area ranges generally, and I haven't got the statistics right here with me, but generally in the southwestern Ontario, they're in the range of roughly, say $10,000 to $25,000 per serviced unit. I don't perceive you're certainly not out of whack with the norm. I know Chatham Kent right now are only at 5,000, and that's for the water and waste